responses to child sexual abuse revealed some of the most distressing cases of child abuse at the hands of people in trusted institutions, and many of the victims will never recover. Now, no amount of compensation can heal those wounds, but the fact that victims now feel they can get some redress might help the healing process. New South Wales survivors of institutional child sex abuse will be among the first in Australia to be able to seek redress under a new national scheme that begins today. And to outline the scheme and how it works, I'm joined by the New South Wales Attorney General Mark Speakman. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me on.
Now, the scheme is administered by the Commonwealth Department of Social Services, and so what will it offer victims?
It will offer survivors three things. It will offer them a redress payment of up to $150,000. It will offer them counselling. In the case of New South Wales, that'll be unlimited counselling, and it will offer them a direct personal response from the institution concerned.
How's it determined whether you get $150,000 or less?
Well, there'll be independent assessors who have no connection with the institution in question who'll determine the severity of the abuse, whether it's been aggravated, for example, by physical abuse, the number of times the abuse happened, the type of abuse, and then they will work out on a scale of up to $150,000 of what the redress payment will be. And if a survivor is dissatisfied with the offer, they can ask for an internal review, and if they're dissatisfied with that and don't want to accept the offer, they still have their civil litigation rights as an alternative. Now,
is that money coming from the institution itself or from taxpayers?
Well, in the case of abuse within New South Wales government institutions, it'll be ultimately the taxpayer.
Mm-hmm.
In the case of non-government institutions like churches, scouts, non-government orphanages and so on, it'll be from those institutions.
Okay, we've heard some, harrowing stories from the Commission over the course that it ran, and even as recently as last week, there was an arrest made regarding the Darrick Boys Home out near Windsor in New South Wales. A lot of these people are severely traumatised. How easy or difficult is it for them to be able to negotiate this compensation process?
Well, look, I hope it is very user-friendly. That's part of the idea of a national redress scheme. It's not meant to be as traumatic and as adversarial as civil litigation. So the onus of proof will be much lower than if you had to go to court. You can apply online. There won't be a lot of documentation required or interrogation. You may not even have to tell your story in person. There's a website, nationalredress.gov.au, that sets out how to apply. So the idea is to make it the less trauma involved for survivors. They've already been through dreadful trauma. You don't want them re-traumatised again by a harrowing process, to make it as easy and as user-friendly as possible.
Is there, how do you know people are going to be telling the truth? What proof do you need that something happened? How do we stop people rorting the system?
Well, look, no system is foolproof, and the only way to completely rule out fraudulent claims is not to have a system at all. So we can't make it 100% safe. But we will have independent assessors looking at the stories. They will check whether the institution existed at the time, if it's an individual who's been known, whether that individual has, if I can put it this way, has form, whether there's been repeat allegations about the individual. But if there's it won't have to be proved that there's a greater than 50% chance that the story is true. If there's a reasonable chance that it's true, then the claim will be accepted.
Okay, now non-government institutions, some of them have announced they'll participate, including the Catholic Church, the Anglican Church, Scouts, Salvation Army. Do institutions voluntarily opt in to this scheme? Are they forced to in any way?
No, it's a voluntary opt-in scheme. So the major institutions like the Catholic Church, the Anglican Church, Uniting Church, Scouts have indicated they will opt in. So the coverage we've got already with all states and territories, the Commonwealth and these major institutions would cover maybe 90% already of survivors, and we're urging the remaining institutions to opt in as well. But it's a voluntary opt-in.
So if you were abused in an institution that has not opted in, what are your options?
Well, your options are civil litigation. All governments, New South Wales and the Commonwealth in particular, continue to apply moral pressure on the outstanding institutions to opt in. If they haven't opted in, then a survivor has the option of civil litigation. And one thing we're doing in New South Wales is making it easier for historical child sexual abuse survivors to make civil claims. We've got rid of a limitation period on making those claims. We are getting rid of a defence called the Ellis defence, where institutions mightn't be incorporated associations. They don't have a legal personality and they can't be sued. We're forcing non-government institutions to nominate a proper defendant with assets for historical claims. And if they don't do that, then we can access the assets of any trust that are associated with them. So we're trying to make the civil litigation stream easier for survivors as well, but the National Redress Scheme will be a much easier option for survivors where it's available to them.
Are you in a position to be able to name the organisations that have not opted in?
No, look, the main ones have. I think they're just pretty much a relative handful of those institutions that remain outstanding.
Sure. There's a couple of victims with terminal illnesses. Are their applications going to be fast-tracked?
Well, look, I hope so. The average time for an application might be around 3 months to be processed, and I'm sure that the Secretary would process those with terminal illness as quickly as possible.
Mr. Spengman, thank you so much for your time. It really is a step in the right direction, and you've obviously worked hard.
It is, and I think this is all about recognising the trauma that survivors have gone through, and saying that we believe their stories, and giving them long overdue recognition. Good on you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you very much. Bye. Attorney General Mark Speakman there. The Royal Commission into Institutional Responsibility.
Yeah, Dr. Jason Morrison, theologist again. I just want to say thank you for watching the videos, and I hope you got plenty of self-rediscovery and freedom out of it. If you watched it on YouTube, please share or like, maybe even comment. If you watched it on Facebook, like, comment, share. But most of all, get out and live. This isn't a rehearsal. You've got a one-off life. Don't let your loyalty and your faithfulness blind you to the life that you should be experiencing. Till the next video, thank you for watching, and bye for now.